Good morning. My name is Camille. I'm from Ezential Yoga. I'm sure you all know that since I invited you to this group. So let me do a short introduction as to who I am and what I'm doing. I am a yoga instructor. Became certified, I don't know, about 8 months ago. Continuing to work towards getting more hours, being registered, and hi, Tina! So I do have a background, hi, Carol, working in physical therapy. I've been in physical therapy for 20 years as a physical therapy assistant. So a lot of my yoga is based on proper form and doing modifications, anything that will help you get through your yoga practice and become even stronger and more endurance and, able to enjoy yoga without pain. Without pain is always a wonderful thing. So I am, I guess you would call an athlete. I do long distance running, weightlifting, Pilates, yoga on my own. I just started my own business in September of last year, so not long ago, and I do virtual yoga. So what you're seeing, this is a live video, but if I were to work with you, it would be you and I talking through either Skype or FaceTime or whatever video type app would work. Anyway, so what I wanted to do was give you guys a nice, short session to give you an understanding of what I do. And if you like it, then we can always work together. Otherwise, you can do these 15-minute videos twice a week. So today I wanted to work on hip openers. A lot of times we carry just whether you're sitting at a desk or whether you're doing long distance running, your hips and your hamstrings, ankles, legs, they really do end up getting tight. So I wanted to try to introduce a couple of hip openers that'll help you to loosen up those areas and hopefully prevent like any back pain. A lot of times if you're tight in your hamstring or your glute, it'll pull on your back. So it's sort of, they say everything's connected. Everything is connected. You could have a foot pain that could like drive up to your knee, drive up to your hamstring, into your hip, into your back. So it's always good to be more mobile. So what we'll start with is our first hip opener is a child's pose, which is not too bad. We're going to get down onto your knees as long as you're able to do this. I usually do a wide-legged child's pose. A lot of times they have your knees in and you're like sort of sitting on your feet. This might, like this is kind of pulling on my knee a little bit. So, and I'll be honest, I get claustrophobic. So like this pose here is a little intense for me, but a lot of people love it. So, you can have this type of child's pose. I do a wide-legged, and you're pushing your hips back to your feet, and you want to try to reach out with your arms. You can rest your forearms on the ground, and then you're going to put your forehead on the ground. Now, the widening of the leg, it sort of lets your stomach come down, so you do feel a little bit more of a stretch in your hip flexors and your hip bones themselves. And you can actually breathe a little bit. So you're breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. This extended child's pose also does a nice stretch for your shoulders. And then to get out of it, you come back into all fours. Okay? Now, so say the extended child's pose a little much. You can use blocks. I like blocks from 5 and below. They're not hard. They're nice and soft. They're cheap. It's great. So you don't have to spend a lot of money for yoga props. I mean, you can. Go ahead. Get diamond and crescent ones. But I really love the 5 and below only because they're nice and you can actually squeeze them. So it gives a little bit, it gives support because it's firm, but it's also soft too. Because there's times where you have your forehead on it. You sort of want a nice, comfortable. So for a prop for the extended child's pose, you could just put the block right there. And then when you reach out, you're going to put it under your chest. So that way you're actually supported. And so that way if you have problems with your neck or your back, this will give you support under there. So that's just one of those. Now I'm going to bring 2 blocks here. Okay, your next hip opener. We're going to come down to the floor. And there's quite a few that really help with hips. Are they the most comfortable positions? Not always, but okay. So one definitely, I will say, intense hip opener is fire log. Now, the idea is you're going to line up your ankle to the opposite knee. And then also the ankle to the opposite knee. So you can see where I'm tight. It's just how it is. So you sort of, as I say, it's an intense stretch. You can always put a block there. If that's not enough, you can put 2 blocks there. Okay? What you eventually want to do is you're leaning forward and you're going to feel a stretch in both your hips. Eventually, you're going to work it down to a point where your leg, see how high it was, and now, you just sort of work into it. And you're stretching down, and eventually you can lean forward. This is definitely a hip stretch, but it's kind of intense. Russell, Hetty! Hello! Okay, so this is fire log. You would do both sides. So one side is definitely going to be more intense than the other. You're always, nobody is symmetrical. So there's always going to be one side that's stronger than the other, one side that's tighter than the other. You just sort of work with it. And your body is different every single day. So one day you're feeling very loose, not a lot of pain, and then some days you have intense pain. So you just work with what you have that day. Okay, so here I am in fire log again. This one's a little tight. As I say, you can always use a block and you can work your way into a fold. Now, how I like to cue folding. So I'm going to face you sideways so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm up straight. You always want to try to maintain a upright posture. And you want to fold forward you want to sort of be like a hinge at your hip. So you really don't, you don't want to have like a curved back. Really try to stay upright and move forward. I promise you'll feel it. And you'll maintain your posture. Okay, so that's another one. Another one on the floor, and then I'm going to do some against the wall. Okay, so the next one is, they call it different things. Cow face, which is an interesting name. Okay. So what you want to do, different than fire log, you want to try to line your knees up. See how they're one above the other, and your feet will splay out. Okay, it's almost like you're holding on to, they call it laces. So you're holding on to your toes, and my knees are directly above each other. Once again, you really want to try to maintain upright posture. okay? And eventually, so here I feel it. I already feel the stretch. It's right there. You can also lean forward to intensify the stretch. If this is not in your wheelhouse right now, you can do a block, okay? Always use the block if it's not, if your knees aren't touching, you can actually use a block to assist with that, okay? You can also place a block on top and come down, okay? So definitely use props. They're very good. Okay, so that one is cow face. Okay, and you'll be able to watch these back. So if you're like, I don't know which one she's talking about, watch this one back. This is a really, like, my hips always feel good after this. Okay, so there is a position called frog. When you do it on the floor, when you're supposed to, you do it on your mat, you have one of these, and a lot of times if you have knee issues, this puts a lot of pressure on the knee. So if you can do it against the wall, not only do you feel the hip opening, but you don't have any pressure on the knees. So why not avoid some pain? The hardest part is getting your tush to the edge of the wall. So you almost have to like really get in there. Walk yourself towards the wall. All right, so my butt is right up against the wall. What you want to do is bring your legs down as wide as you can. And your feet want to be like 90 degrees out. So they're like this. Okay, so this is a supported frog. This is good for, I feel it in the hips, my hamstrings. I feel it in my feet. And you can put like a little bit of pressure on the knees. If you're, if you're feeling, oh my God, this is so intense, you can always bring it up closer. But the feet do need to be out. Okay. So, but if you're out here and you're like, all right, I could probably take a little bit more, you can push the knees out. Okay. So this is supported frog. Definitely will open up your hips, I can tell you that. Okay, I'm going to give you two more. But while I'm against the wall, let me show you a nice restorative pose. So my butt is still up against the wall. My legs are up straight. And my feet are flat, like if you're walking on the ground. So they're nice and flexed. And you just lay here. This is a really good restorative pose. This is a supported inversion. So, inversions can be headstand, handstand, anything with feet up again, up above your heart. This is supported. It's very, very good for your body. It helps blood circulate, and it really doesn't put any pressure on any parts of your body. So even if you have bad hips, bad knees, bad back, your back is flat on this. You can always do a restorative pose where you can put pillows under you, but this is a really wonderful pose. So this is legs up the wall, okay? It's a very good way if you don't want to do a corpse pose at the end of a yoga class. Legs up the wall is great, okay? All right, so then we come down. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to give you the last pose, which is called pigeon. I'm going to give you two versions of it. You don't have to, Ruth, hello. Okay. Oh, my Argus peeps, I love you guys. You guys are fabulous. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do pigeon. So to get into the normal pigeon is you're in hands, all fours. You're going to bring your right knee to your right wrist, and then bring your right ankle as close to the wrist as close to your left wrist as you can. I mean, it's really tough to get this leg parallel. So do the best you can. All right, so here we are. Now you're going to walk that left leg back as far back as you can. And we're maintaining an upright position. Here we are. You're going to feel, you want to try to maintain balance through both your hips. So you don't want to sit on that right hip, and you really don't want to lean on the left. You sort of want to be right in the middle. And then if this is where you're feeling it, oh my God, my hip is killing me, please stop. Stay there. Or you can walk your hands down, and you can be forearms down, and you can be here. Some people lay all the way out. I like sort of going down on my forearms. I feel it in my hip. It's a really great stretch. And this is more the pigeon that you see in classes. But if this is too intense, it hurts your knee, I don't like the way it feels, then what you do, we do it on our back. So this would be supine pigeon or figure four. When I go to physical therapy, we call it figure four. So you're going to lay on your back, both feet are flat on the floor. Bring your left ankle to your right knee. So we're sort of in that triangle. And then try to bring the right leg into your chest. So you're going to reach through and bring that leg towards your chest. You will feel a stretch in the crossed over leg. And there's no pressure on your knees, no pressure on your back. You're just laying. And this is a lot of times more comfortable and more feasible for people to get into. And you're still feeling the same stretch. So this is supine pigeon. Okay, usually stretches I would hold for 3 to 5 breaths. So you're just breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your nose. And then do that, 3 to 4 more times. And then you can, relax for a second and then go to the other side. So that's what I would do. Okay, so those are your hip openers. 15 minutes flies by. I'm already at 17 minutes. My goodness. Boy, can I talk. Anyway, so this is our first introduction. On Thursday, I might do a little bit later because I have a yoga convention, which is kind of funny, but I do have a class. So I might do this at nighttime, but I'll announce it on the group. And I just wanted to just introduce myself. I'm very excited to see you guys. Oh, you guys are wonderful. And on Thursday, I'll do shoulder openers. So these will be more, so we opened up our hips. We're going to open up our shoulders. Next week, I'll introduce some poses and we'll put it together in a flow. So usually what I'll do on Tuesdays is give you poses. I'll introduce those, the proper form, and then Thursdays I'll put them all together and we'll do a flow. So, but I like to introduce some stretches first because hips and shoulders are usually our tightest part. So anyway, I'm so glad that you guys are here. And give me any suggestions you like. If there's a pose you definitely want to see, I will definitely bring it to you. I will be very responsive. So anyway, I hope you have a beautiful day. I love you. And I will talk to you later. Have a wonderful